another up close video. Today's one is for the Ferris Wheel die set, which is part of Tonic's March Madness for 2023, and I absolutely love this die set. I think if you've already got the hot air balloon, the carousel, and possibly even like the telephone box from one of the craft kits, you could create like an entire fun fair using this die set as well. I think this die set is fantastic and I absolutely loved making this Ferris wheel. I'll show it to you first before I even show you the die sets, but I absolutely loved making this Ferris wheel. I went for slightly more like masculine sort of colours, and I did decide to add solid behind here, but there are also decorative dies. So you see here how this heart has got like a little outline around it. You can do similar things to that with this portion and this portion of that decorative detail as well, which I'm sure some of the other design team members will show, and I think it shows it on the packaging as well. But yeah, I wanted to go for solid ones to give it slightly more of like a masculine sort of theme to it. I think it makes it look a little bit more masculine doing it that way. And I did 3 different colours and then mixed it all up as I did it. So you can see here this green panel is the main colour here, but then the carriage here is the burnt orange and the pole in the middle is the turquoise colour, and then I've mixed it up going all the way around. But this is fantastic. I absolutely love this. There is quite a bit of die cutting involved. This portion in particular, you do actually need 24 of them to create the Ferris wheel. That's probably the most time consuming part, is die cutting all of those pieces out, but I think it is well worth it. It is fantastic and it moves so well. When you put it together, you have this handle on the back of it, and look how well it goes round. I think it's fantastic, and I think you could use this for so many different occasions as well. It could house maybe like tiny little cupcakes or something. You could put little characters in it. I couldn't find many of my mum's knitted characters that were small enough, but I found my little pincushion hedgehog, so she actually fits in there quite nicely. So you could do knitted characters to go in there as well and have like little people going round. I did also find my little dragon from a while back, but I think he's a little bit too big to fit in there. I'm not sure he would fit in there very well, but you know, any kind of like knitted characters or crocheted characters that you've made and stuff as well. You could even put Nuvo goodies if you wanted to in here, maybe like the little ink pads. They would fit in there quite nicely. Even putting that weight in there makes it move round as well. So you can definitely play around with what kind of gifts that you want to put in here. I also think you should get this in time for Easter. You could even put Easter eggs in here, because I'd say that little hedgehog is roughly the same size as like a Cadbury's cream egg. So you could put Easter eggs in here and have it as some kind of like Easter centerpiece on your table. You could turn it into a game if you wanted to, and have it again as a centerpiece on your table for some kind of a special occasion. And you could make some kind of game out of it, and like you spin the Ferris wheel, and wherever it lands, you've got to take out whatever it is in the little carriage as well. But I absolutely adore this, and it works so well as well. It just goes together so perfectly, and I was so impressed when I finally put this together. Really, really gorgeous. I absolutely adore it. I cannot wait to make some more of these as well, but I think I want to do one to match in my dining room and just have it on the side, because I just really, really love it so much. But really, really, really cool, clever, ingenious kind of idea, and these have plenty of room to move around. They're nice and loose, so they really do you know, tip to the different angle as it goes around. I mean, if you'd live in London, you could technically, I suppose the carriages don't really look like the London Eye, but you could technically make it all white, and, you know, make it look a little bit like the London Eye, and then you could have the telephone box next to it as well, and really make sort of like a London little decor scene on your sideboard or something. That would be quite nice too. So, or you could even just do it in like patriotic colours as well, to make it look a little bit more London-y too. But I absolutely adore how this turned out. So now I've finished talking about that, I'll show you the actual dies that you use to create it, and I have actually finished a couple of cards to show you as well. I've done like a matching card. Well, they're both kind of matching cards really, but a couple of different ways of using some of the other dies in the set as well. But this is the main die set. It's an A4 die set, And then there is this die, which gives you that little carriage. So you don't have to use the carriage on the Ferris wheel. It could just be a gorgeous little container for like a small cupcake or something. You need 2 of them to create the actual carriage. You twist them round and stick the bases together, and then fold up the sides and use the glue tabs, and that creates your gorgeous little carriage. And you would need 6 of those for your actual Ferris wheel. And I did 3 different colours, so I cut 4 of each out of each different colour, so then I had 2 whole carriages for each different colour. Then, to attach those carriages to the Ferris wheel, you need these pieces here. There's 2 that look similar, but you need the smaller one. This is that little bar that holds the carriage onto the Ferris wheel, and you need 1 of each of these for each carriage, so you'll need 6 of them for your complete Ferris wheel. And this basically literally just folds up. The glue tab sticks round to the front of it as well. So if you've had, in the past, the wheelbarrow recently had a die similar to this in it. I'm sure there's been other things that have had dies like this to create some kind of mechanism in them. But yeah, really simple, and actually quite a useful die to have as well, actually, if you just wanted a 3-dimensional thing. If you were creating like a perpetual calendar or something for somebody, this kind of looks like that little long block piece that might have all of the months of the year on it or something. So, you know, maybe you could even use it for that kind of thing. But yeah, that is the little die that is the little spindle piece that holds the carriage onto the Ferris wheel. Then let's look at the dies for the bottom, or the main sort of like cradle portion of the Ferris wheel. So these are the side pieces, and this is where the main Ferris wheel fits into. So you've got those beautiful side triangles. You need, I think you need 4 of these, or it might have been 6 of them, to make it really nice and sturdy. But it's definitely worth multiplying up on these to make it really sturdy. And I did use 300 GSM for all of the white cardstock on mine, so that it was really sturdy and that it would last, you know, being spun a lot of times. But that is the main side piece. Then you have the base of the actual Ferris wheel that sticks onto there, and again you need a couple of those, so you can line the inside and the outside to make it extra strong as well. And then you also have this piece, which is that side portion. So those 3 pieces create that bottom, like, stabilizing stand basically for the Ferris wheel. So you've got those 3 pieces that do that. Then you also have the main portion of the Ferris wheel. So this is the actual like main die that creates that wheel portion, and this is the one that you need to cut 24 times, because to create each large circle you need 6 of them, and on each side of the Ferris wheel, so either side of the carriages, you want 2 of those large circles. So one that you can sandwich any decorative detail between the 2 of them to make it look neat on both sides, but it also gives that strength and rigidity to it as well, which really helps it to move round really nicely. So this is the one die that you're going to have to cut a lot of times, but you do actually get some fall away pieces from this. You get a few little dots on there, and you also get the heart, which you can then use to decorate different areas of it later on as well. So you do actually get quite a nice little bits of fall away from there too. And then to make this decorative, instead of just having it as it is, you have this die here, which fits perfectly behind, because you don't want it interfering with that circle, because that circle is where those little spindles for the carriage adhere to. And this is why you also have 2 of these main circle portions, because they hide all of that joining together and everything. But you have this solid portion, which is what I used on mine to get the solid colour behind these pieces, and that would actually go perfectly behind there to cover all of the detail that you need. But if you don't want to do that, or maybe you want to use this in conjunction, maybe you want some extra colour showing around some of this detail, you actually have all of the dies to do that as well, which is just fantastic. These are like really different kind of dies. I actually use these 2 together on the card that I will show you, but you can use these 2 either one or the other, or both together. They actually do layer up together, which is how I use them on the card that I'll show you later. But you can use either or of those and actually cut them and place them behind the detail on here, and then actually give like a little shadow of colour. And I'm pretty sure the samples on the front of the packaging for this show you that kind of idea. But you can actually put a little bit of colour or slightly more colour behind all of these areas, which I think is just fantastic. It's a really different kind of way to add a decorative detail. Instead of having this solid and adding decorative panels to a solid piece, they've made it decorative but given you different decorative dies, so you can still have that see-through kind of look, you know, being able to see the carriages move round, or you have the option to make it solid with that other main die as well. And not only do you get the two pieces to do that portion of the Ferris wheel, you also get the two pieces to do that top portion of the Ferris wheel. So again, these can be die cut and go behind and give a tiny little bit of colour poking out, or you can go for a slightly more colour poking out if you use this one. If I line it up, you can see how you would still be able to see through the Ferris wheel, but you'd have that extra little bit of colour poking through. So you can also do that with those, or you can layer the two of them together. I mean, I guess you could even stick them on the front if you want to as well, whatever kind of look you're going for. But then, as well as that, you also have two heart dies as well. So this heart falls out, which if you were cutting lots of them and you were maybe doing a different colour on the inside and the outside, you could recess the heart from the other colour back into this. Or you have these two pieces here, which again can layer on top of each other to give a skinny little border, but also they can be used as a little frame to go around this, or you can use the fall away piece from that, which is slightly smaller, and it can sit inside of that little aperture as well. So whatever you want to do, this piece is really versatile with all of the different decorative patterns and extra little details that you can add to it. So really, really clever sort of concept really for this die. And this die in particular, if you had, what was it? I think it was a showcase. Was it like called a pop-up box or something? And it could be an ice cream cone, or it could be a flower pot. If you had those scoops of ice cream and stuff, this could be like a wafer cone, a fancy wafer cone, and you could put the solid panel behind it so it looks like this is a fancy pattern in the wafer, and you could have ice cream cones coming out of the top, or ice cream scoops coming out of the top. Or you could make it into a fancy wrap for a bunch of flowers and have beautiful flowers coming out the top. Or I have actually also turned this into a parasol as well, like a mini, or like a mini parasol or a large cocktail umbrella kind of looking thing, which I'll show you later too. But yeah, there's so many different things that you can do with this die as well. Then you actually have this die, which gives you 4 circles. So there are lots of opportunities in a lot of these dies to get extra circles to decorate with. There's some in this portion, there's some in the carriages here, there's one from here, there's one from that donut, and there's one from the handle as well. But you do also get this die that just gives you circles, and you can actually use these to cover up this portion here. They actually fit nicely over the top. You can layer up the fall away circle back on top of this one to give a different look as well, because when you're sticking this whole thing together, you will actually be able to see through this hole, and through the hole you'll be able to see that little support beam that holds each of the carriages in place. So to cover that up, you've got the different circle options, but you can also use this fall away heart over here to hide that hole as well. So you've got lots of options for hiding that little hole. And even with the parasol idea, I could have left the hole there. I could have dangled something from the hole because it would be up this way, but I decided to use the little heart fall away pieces to cover up the little hole there as well. But you do have that extra circle die, which again can be useful for other applications. You can make a handbag die set look spotty by adding spots all over it, and having 4 in, you know, one piece makes it really nice and easy. If you didn't want to use this decorative pattern on the main stand for the Ferris wheel, you could make it spotty by using these dies and even the fall away pieces from the other ones to get different size spots as well. So a nice versatile little die there as well. Then we also have, let's show you the mechanism for attaching the main Ferris wheel to the base. So this is the longer spindle, and this is the spindle that goes all the way through the centre of everything, and one side looks decorative and the other side has the handle attached to it. But this is that actual spindle, and on one side of it you have this little decorative piece and this donut piece, and you stick the end tabs here through this donut and you stick it to there, and then you put this one over the top to hide those glue tabs, and that goes on one end of this piece to make a pretty piece on the front. And I actually use one of those fall away hearts from this panel here to decorate mine. And then on the other end of this, you use these same two pieces again. You've obviously make sure you've threaded this all the way through your Ferris wheel first with the stand and the wheel on there. Then you do the same thing with those glue tabs, you stick them to that donut. Then you take this die, which is the handle, and you actually stick that portion over the top of that, and then you can use this decorative piece to hide the addition of the handle, and you can add that on top of there as well. And then this is your actual handle piece, which you use to spin the Ferris wheel. You don't technically need a handle, but it's quite cool if someone's looking at it and then you start spinning it and they're not realising how you're making it spin as well. You can just sort of spin it from behind. And again, I put a heart on mine to sort of decorate that. But that's how you do that mechanism to hold the entire thing together and to create the movement on it. And then the final pieces are just our decorative elements that we've got left. So this piece already has its cutting edge on, and it decorates that side portion of the base piece. Then we have these two panels here, which decorate the little carriages. So you can decorate these however you want. You could keep them plain, you could use a pattern paper using the outside edge to add a pattern to them. You can cut from a different colour and add this beautiful decorative detail onto them. Whether you stick that directly onto your little carriages themselves or whether you back it with a different colour as well. But you've got those beautiful patterned panels there for that. And then finally you have this really large beautiful pattern as well, that is for decorating the stand with. And I actually did a mixture of paper piecing and glitter on mine, and then I loved the results so much and I had extra pieces left over, that I decided to do a paper pieced version for a card as well. So I've got a matching card to go with this too. So really beautiful die. You've got these long gorgeous like rays on there, you've got hearts and swirly designs as well. But again, if you didn't want to use this pattern on there, you can just use the outside edge to cut a patterned paper, to cut something you jelly printed, to cut a specialty cardstock. You can use that little circle die to create polka dots all over it and make a completely different look as well. You could even put word dies all over it or write something on it as well. So many different ways of decorating the beautiful Ferris wheel. So I'll put all of these dies away, and then I will come back, show you my Ferris wheel and the cards that I've created, and also that sort of like mini parasol giant cocktail umbrella as well. Okay, so here we've got the Fantastic Ferris Wheel again, and you can see actually I can tip this upside down and it all stays together because of the way it's all secured in this central section. So it's a really fun, different kind of design. I really love it. I absolutely adore how this turned out. I love how well it moves and everything as well. And the fact that you can put like little knitted characters and things in them. Obviously you could make them purposely for it and have different characters around there, maybe different family pets that you've got or something, or different family members or something. But really, really cool. I absolutely adore the way the carriages move and everything. If I can show you from, I think I can probably hold it at the side and show you. But really cool, absolutely adore that. So that is the main Ferris wheel, and you can see how I've kind of decorated it. I've put those hearts over the top, I've used the solid panels behind, I've done the paper piecing and the glitter on the stand of the Ferris wheel as well. So really pretty. If you hear any little noises, it's Pumpkin. Apparently she wouldn't let me film for the last 10 minutes of this video, so I'm holding her. So when I was putting together the Ferris wheel, I thought, hang on, what if you only put 5 of those pieces together? You could create some kind of little parasol or giant cocktail umbrella. It's a little bit wonky, and I kind of makeshift how I put this together. I actually ended up using a glue lid from one of my bottles of Nuvo glue, and I put the gem on the top of it, and then I stuck the kebab skewer into the glue lid, and then I stuck the glue lid into that central section of the parasol as well. So you can even use those panels to turn it into like a giant cocktail umbrella or little parasol as well. And then I've also got the 2 card samples to show you too. So I've got this one that matches the actual Ferris wheel, but using the opposite pieces of the like the paper piecing portions, so that I'm not wasting all of those different colours. You can see on the original one I've got turquoise, green, turquoise, and then on the card I've got green, turquoise, green, and I've also used some of the different pieces in this top section, and then I've used glitter to finish that off as well, and I put a little Dymo happy birthday sentiment on there to finish that off too. And then I thought, well, all of those decorative pieces that I didn't end up using for here, I wanted to show you how they do layer, so I created this card just using 6 of them, creating like a doily kind of effect. So you've got the green kind of colour underneath, and then the turquoisey colour on top with a few little accents of that ginger pie colour as well. But really fun and different kind of card, having that layering element. I really like that. I hope Tonic do some more of that in different die sets, because I think it's really fun and different. But you can actually just layer them up like this, or you could have even stuck them onto a piece of the ginger pie cardstock and then cut round them as well if you wanted to give them a colour behind those little apertures too. And I've also used a lot of the fall away pieces, so the coloured dots on here are the fall away pieces from the carriages. So the carriages have a hole where the spindle goes through, and I've just used the dots there as little extra decorations to add onto this doily kind of design. And then that circle section there with the scalloped circle and the pierced circle, throughout the whole March Madness event, Tonic are giving away free little die sets with purchase, and I think it's the one that comes with the Ferris wheel is this doily kind of die, and it's got some other bits and pieces in it as well, but I just used that part of it for the central section of this sort of doily design of a card. So I thought that worked quite nicely, and then I layered up some of those hearts in the centre as well, and again just put a little Dymo label on there too. So I really hope you enjoyed this up close video looking at the Ferris wheel die set from Tonic for their March Madness 2023 celebrations. And Pumpkin says bye, and she's licking my hand because she wants to go back to sleep again. But yeah, really hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to get hold of this Ferris wheel die set, there will be affiliate links in the description box below the video, and also on my blog post as well. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to use my affiliate links. It really does make a big difference. I know a lot of you do it all the time, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much, and I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one.